I'm up here. Where are we, Jamie?
Somewhere near Hyack. Mount Catherine's right over there.
Yeah, we're up in Ragged Ridge. Is actually not too far up there, and I just wanted to take this time to actually work on my own skills digging snow pits, and so I'm going to talk to you guys. I wanted to make a few videos about sort of site selection and measuring out the pit and sort of finding a good place for it. So I already skinned out here. You can see my tracks. Basically, we're looking at a northwest aspect that way, and I got this nice patch of snow right here. It is in the sun, so you have to think about that, but the way I'm going to dig my pit, the observation walls should be out of the sun and well shaded. And so that's one thing I'm thinking about. Another thing I'm thinking about is compaction of some sort. Obviously, the snow is going to compact itself. I'm okay with that, but I want to look for animal tracks or past ski tracks, or a big issue is a sled track. Like if someone brings their snowmobile through here, it can skew all the data that I actually get. So this slope looks very well undisturbed. There are a few animal tracks off this way, but it shouldn't, I don't think it'll affect my pit too much. Another thing I'm thinking about is sort of a distance from trees, a certain distance. Um, Downhill, there are some trees kind of closer to my pit, but since those are downhill, I'm a little less worried about them. All the uphill trees are nice and far away from me, and so they also won't run a chance of skewing my data. Now, in order to sort of decide where I'm going to put my pit along this slope, I already pulled out my probe, and I can stick this thing in here. I'm also using it to sort of feel the layers. Feels like there's actually a pretty firm layer a bit down lower, about 105 centimeters down. And that's feeling fairly consistent from that point down. So what I'm going to do is maybe I'll dig a pit about 150 centimeters down. Actually, not too deep as far as pits can go. But those are sort of the layers in the snow that I'm looking for. Anything lower than that, especially in my area, is kind of like if there's an interface or a layer of weakness, that would be like a persistent weak layer. And when it gets about that low, especially on a slope of this angle, I'm a little bit less worried about it. So I really just want to see what's happening in more of those upper snow layers. So about 150 there. Let's go. I can just check out this area, see how this is. Sort of feeling for consistency throughout the pit. There's that firm layer again. If I dig a bit deeper, I get about to that same area. If I push it down to 150, that's very consistent across the slope. This is kind of the area I really had my eye on, so let's see. Oh, there's actually a bit of a firmer layer. Right there, and I can get about to 150. So the slope is fairly consistent. What you can do with the probing right there is you can feel for like rocks or other down trees or something that you could hit your probe with, and that'll disturb your pit down to that level that you're going for. And then also you can see maybe some amount of consistency across your slope, which this slope has quite a bit of consistency. So I'm gonna stay over here on the farther side. It's probably a little bit less disturbed snow. And now I gotta measure out my pit. So I can pull this dude back up. All right, so as far as measurements for a snow pit goes, there's actually no concrete rule how wide or far back to make your pit. I usually go about 90 centimeters, or you know what, let's do 100. So let's find my spot right here. I can just measure that out with my probe. There we go. So 100 centimeters that side, and then it'll be easier to pop out of my skis. All right, and then I'm gonna do about 150 across. I got 150 across, and then same deal here. Another 100 centimeters. There we go. Throw that thing away. And now I can walk on this snow because I'm just going to dig it away. But now I have my rough dimensions for the snow pit that I want to make. I measured out the hole with a helper, and we dug down to the layer that I'm looking at. And now let's just talk about cleaning up these walls. So with a snow profile, you want to make sure that the walls are as close to 90 degrees as you can get. And I'm kind of notoriously bad about this, so I have to work pretty hard. Maybe a smaller shovel handle will work for this wall. But what I'm gonna do is, when you actually scoop out a wall, you curve like this as part of human anatomy. So when I'm scooping out this wall, I gotta keep that blade as vertical as I can. And you can always like take more away, but you can't add back in. So I am gonna be a bit more conservative for a little bit, just scratching out these layers, and slowly shave the bottom part back to about 90. The top part I can usually get right away. Luckily, like, this is so much easier than doing this in Colorado snow.
Yeah, where it just falls back in. The snow's super wet. I put my butt down for half a second and it was just getting soaked. Yeah, it looks good minus your corner. Your corner looks like shit. It's not a big deal.
Not. It's curving in.
Yeah. Got like about 8 inches underneath the layer.
Underneath the first hard layer?
Yeah. Yeah, so a couple, like right above that is where it starts.
The biggest thing with this snow pit, in order to get good results, is I do want to make this as 90 degrees as possible. And a great way to check if it's 90 degrees is you actually walk around your pit where my cameraman is standing, and then you can look and see if this wall is 90 degrees or not. So you can see here I have the top more or less straight, but then right about here it kind of bellows out. And so I'm gonna go in with my shovel now, and then I can just use the tip like this, and I can shave away a little bit of snow to make that a bit more 90 degrees. If you're in a place with softer snow like Colorado, a lot of people will just take their gloved hand and sort of smooth out the snow. And that's the way how they can put the finishing touches. But when you have a bunch of ice layers, you kind of got to get aggressive with your snow. So I want to make sure that all 3 of these walls are vertical, and then it'll be time to test. So I finished up my pit. It's a nice good rectangle. If I want a bit of style points, I can make a seat for myself right here, or a place where I can stash all my snow study tools. And I'm ready to actually start taking some measurements. That was a lot of work. So when you've had snow on the ground for a while, sometimes certain things will get sucked below the snowpack, and you can actually get little twigs or sticks that ruin your study wall right here. So what I'm gonna actually have to do is dig this a little bit further back, so that way I can get a clean slate. There you go, just like new. But yeah, that is actually a thing you want to watch out for. If you do get a rock or a log or something else here that sort of messes up your walls, you're not going to get the most accurate data. Maybe a little hole is kind of okay, but a giant blemish, or sometimes mice will dig tunnels in the snow, so you can actually hit those sometimes. But yeah, so what I'd have to do is actually go back about this far and then just drill out my wall a little bit further.